One of my favorite ways to learn about real estate investing is to hear stories of investments that people have actually made. That firsthand experience I find is just invaluable. So, I've been in the business now for about 9 years. I have some stories of my own, and I thought, why not put together a video series where I share investments that I've made personally and investments I've helped clients with. The goal is to hopefully give you some insights and little bits of knowledge that can help you on your real estate investing journey. So today is episode 1. We're going to be talking about the first triplex that I ever invested in. It's right here in Long Beach, and this is the Deal Digest. So just setting the stage a little bit, it was back in 2016. I had been in the real estate business, working as an agent, helping people buy and sell multifamily properties for about a year and a half. I had saved up some commissions and I was ready to go find a property. The only problem was I didn't have quite enough money to buy anything on my own. So don't blame your resources, be resourceful. What I did is I decided to find a partner, and lucky for me, I didn't have to look far. I was able to partner with my parents, and my parents had never invested in any real estate aside from just their house that they were living in. So it was a new experience for them, but luckily they agreed it was a good idea. So the ball was in my court. It was time to go find a property. So our primary source of deals was really active listings on the MLS. 2016, the market was really ramping up coming out of the 2008 financial crisis. No one was scared of real estate anymore at that point, and it was very competitive, especially at the lower end price point where we were. So we were keeping an eye on active listings, but I decided to check out some expireds to see if I could find anything that not everyone was looking at. And lucky for us, I found this guy. So this is a little triplex. It's located in a neighborhood called the Wilmore Historic District, which is just north of downtown Long Beach. So lots of really cool turn of the century and 1920s properties with a lot of character, and you're just a short couple blocks away from downtown. So location is pretty good. The listing I found was actually from 2013, and they had the property priced at $350,000. We're in 2016 now, so I knew it was going to be priced a bit higher than that, but that was okay. I decided to reach out to the owner, couldn't get through to him, decided to reach out to the agent, old agent, couldn't get through to him either. The only person I was able to get through to was the property manager, who was luckily listed on the old listing. So at this point, we actually didn't have our partnership agreement fully worked out, nor did we have our financing completely ready to go. So my parents were planning on using a cash out refinance and using those funds as part of their down payment. And it took us a little while to put everything together. In the meantime, I put together an analysis with some comps and sent it to the property manager. He passed it along to the seller, but didn't give me any feedback on our price. The whole time the property manager was really just encouraging me to submit an offer. So we finally got our ducks in a row and submitted the offer, and then the unthinkable happened. So within about 2 hours of emailing the offer in, we actually saw the property hit the market with the old listing agent. So we think what happened is the seller got the analysis that I sent with the comps. He was happy with the price, and he didn't get an offer from us. So he reached out to the old agent and asked him to list it. So this was a big problem because the property was priced well, and they ended up getting about 20 offers on it. So now we were in a position where we had submitted at the new list price, which was $395,000, but there were 19 other buyers who were also interested. So they decided to host a walkthrough for everyone to come and look at the building, and we were there with our competition. So during the walkthrough, we spent a lot of time at the property, checking it out, chatting with the listing agent. He actually knew exactly who we were. And we ended up resubmitting an offer at a new higher price at $420,000. And we actually weren't even the highest offer. But I think because of the time we spent talking with the listing agent, and the seller knowing who we were, they decided to work with us. So we had the property in contract. So this is the listing from when we purchased the property. As you can see, they listed it originally at $399. We closed it at $420,000. The property is 1,844 square feet on a pretty small lot, really not much bigger than the footprint of the building. You can see where it's located relative to downtown in the little map there. It's 1922 construction, and as you can see from the photos, it really just has that one garage right there in the front. So if we scroll down, you can see the unit mix and rents. So it's 2 1-bed units and a 2-bed unit. And the 2-bed unit was interesting because um, in some older properties, they'll count any room that has a closet as a bedroom. So for this 2-bed unit, you would walk in the front door and you'd be in a bedroom, which really acted more like a living room. And then you'd continue through that room into what functionally I thought should be a dining room, which was connected to the kitchen, the bathroom, and the other bedroom. So really it was more of an XL1 bed. So when we were estimating market rents for that unit, we were pretty conservative. This property also had 4 separate electric meters and 4 separate gas meters. So each of the units paid its own gas and electricity. And then there was also a house meter to run the laundry room, and there was a shared water heater at this property. So owner paid for water and for heating the water. All right, so here's some photos of the property when we first purchased it. That's my dad on the left there. We're checking out the fence, which you can see needs some work. This is the XL 1-bed unit downstairs. Pretty much all the units had these same sort of finishes. So it was kind of old school brown carpet, linoleum, very basic. That unit had a little dog, a couple little dogs that were running around. You can see a decent sized bedroom in the back of the building there. And then, yeah, these tenants weren't the best housekeepers, so they weren't treating the unit that great. The fence at the back of the property was really just kind of scrap wood that had been nailed and screwed together over the years and was really leaning there. So needed that to be replaced. You could see some not the best craftsmanship on the stucco patching. This unit was probably the best of the 3. So you could see same finishes, but these tenants just were treating it a lot better. And these tenants, we actually didn't end up raising rent on them at all. They were super easy to work with and really cool. So we just kind of left them alone. Yeah, more just deferred maintenance. So this is the door frame heading out of the back door of the property. If you zoom in there, you can kind of see that someone actually cut a hole in the screen door to reach through and unlock it. I think when they forgot their keys. So yeah, that kind of stuff. Holes in the walls. There are holes all over the place, even inside a couple of the units. So that was something that would need to be fixed. Broken windows. So really just a lot of little deferred maintenance that added up. But we were okay with that. We were ready to take on a project. So I would definitely consider this a value add deal. But what was very unique about it is most value add deals, you're buying a property that has low rents and usually needs renovations done. But in this case, the property still needed renovations. It was a little junky, but rents were decent. So they were already getting $1,000 for each of the 1-beds and $1,200 for that kind of 2-bed XL 1-bed. And then in this area of Long Beach, it's very parking impacted. So it's not uncommon to see parking being rented for extra. This owner was already renting out the garage for $100 a month. So our projection of market rents was $1,100 for those 1-beds, $1,300 for like the XL 1/2, and we were just going to leave the garage rent the same at $100 a month. So if we run our gross rent multiplier calculation, based on current rents, we're making $3,300 a month. That's $39,600 in gross rent in a year. So to do the gross rent multiplier calculation, you just divide the price by your gross scheduled rents, and we come up with 10.6 times gross is what we were paying for this property. So I think they could have sold it for a little bit higher GRM than this. But I also think they understood that it was in rough condition and they just wanted to get rid of it. So good for us. And then we were projecting market rents of $3,600 a month. That works out to $43,200 a year. Do that same equation and you come up with 9.7 times gross based on market rents, which is pretty good. So in a year from now, we were projecting, value we should be able to either refinance or sell this based on a GRM of 13, which is this bottom equation here. So to come up with our exit value, it's really simple back of the napkin math that we were doing. We were saying, okay, we were projecting market rents of $43,200 per year. we're going to be able to sell at a multiple of 13 times gross. And that gives us an exit value of $561,000, which we thought was really good. So as for cash flow, what was great about having strong rents off the bat is we didn't have to worry about any negative cash flow. So property was bringing in $3,300 a month. Our mortgage on the property, so we got an investment loan, put 25% down, and at that time rates were at about 4.88% is what I think we got on this. So mortgage payment was $1,688 per month. We also added in a vacancy expense of 3%, and for expenses, that 1189 number there includes property taxes, insurance, repairs and maintenance, property management, lawn care, everything that you'd want to include, utilities. So in total, our expenses were $2,973 a month. Excuse me, and we were cash flowing about $327. So not life-changing money by any means, but we weren't going to have to come out of pocket to just cover basic expenses on this building. So the building was paying for itself. We didn't have to rush to finish these repairs. So we really love this. And actually looking back on this, this is like shockingly awesome. So for the value add deals that I'm seeing today, you're definitely typically looking at some negative cash flow while you're doing all these repairs, which still makes sense, but just kind of interesting to look back and see what it used to be like in 2016. So we did a ton of work to this building. You can see we replaced the fence. Here's some photos of my dad and I working on that. Yep, there it is done. So we renovated 2 of the units. This is the basic remodel that we went with. So two-tone paint. We went with vinyl plank flooring, which was popular. It's still popular because it's waterproof and really durable. Just basic kitchen cabinets and counters, basic stove. You can see the living room here. So added ceiling fans, but really nothing too fancy. This is about what that area calls for in renovations so that you can achieve market rent. So one thing that you'll hear a lot is you don't want to over improve a unit and spend a ton of money on it, because at some point you're really not going to get more rent for the work that you're putting in. So this is what was appropriate. The property manager had a crew of guys that they referred to us, and they specialize in doing unit turns like this. So we didn't have to do any of this. It was super easy. You can see original built-in cabinets there. So by about the end of year 1, we had completed all the renovations. So we replaced the fence, like you saw, renovated 2 units, got rents up in those 2 units. We also painted the exterior of the property, did a bunch of wood repair. So it doesn't look that different, but it's a lot better off than it was. We also removed this bootleg addition that was made to the laundry room. So at this point, building was operating really well, but we knew that we needed to do something because of where our returns were. And I'll show you what we were seeing. So one of the most common mistakes I think people make when they're investing in real estate is not managing their return on equity well over time. So these are our basic returns in year 1, and then I'll go on to show you what happened in year 2. But purchase price was 420 grand. With our down payment and renovations, we invested about 130 grand into this property. So there's 4 elements of return in real estate. You have appreciation, cash flow, tax benefits, and then each month when you make a mortgage payment, part of that payment goes to paying down the principal balance of your loan. So those are broken down here. So appreciation is really big in year 1 since this is a value add deal. So we fixed up the building, got rents up a little bit. So based on our projections of the value at the end of year 1, we had added about 141,000 in equity, or sorry, in value to this property. Our cash flow based on our market rents was about $6,000 for the year. Tax benefits, so depreciation gave us another about $1,600 return, and then principal pay down was about $4,750. So total return, as you can see right here, was $153,350. And if you divide that by the money we invested, which was 130 grand, we made 118% return, which is great. But there's sort of an issue with this. Now we have a lot more equity tied up in this building. So if in year two, we recalculate our numbers, we sort of see the issue. So in year two, we're not doing that same big value add. So we're just going to project that the property appreciates at the same rate that the market appreciates over time. So in this example, we're using 5%. So from appreciation, we made $28,000 in the first year. Our cash flow is basically the same as the first year. Tax benefits also basically the same. And principal paydown is just slightly more. So the difference in year two is now the value of our property is 561 grand. Our equity is a lot more. So now we have $256,000 worth of equity in this property. So when we do our equation for return on equity, we made 40,500 on our 256,000. So now our return on equity is 15.8%, which it's pretty easy to beat that number in real estate investing. So really, this isn't acceptable and doesn't fall in line with our long-term plan. So we looked at refinancing and pulling some cash out, but really we weren't going to have enough cash out to go and buy another property. So instead, we decided to do a 1031 exchange where we would sell the property and roll all of our equity into a property of equal or greater value. So in the time that we owned the property, the market rents had actually gone up from what we had projected. So at the time that we decided to sell, market rents were, I think, like $1,300 for the 1 beds and closer to $1,500 for the 2 beds. So market forces definitely worked in our favor. We were able to sell this property at 13.7 times gross based on our current income, and we sold it for a price of $595,000. So at the end of the day, we netted, I think, over 260 grand on the sale, which allowed us to double our money on this property. And because we did the 1031 exchange, we paid 0 in capital gains tax. So we ended up rolling all of the money into a bigger building, another triplex, but much larger in a nicer location. I'll share that deal another time. All right, so some big lessons that we learned on this property. I think number one, first lesson we learned was when you have an opportunity, you need to act quickly on it. Real estate, it's a competitive industry, so these opportunities aren't going to wait around for you. So make sure you have your financing and your partnerships all worked out ahead of time. The second thing that I think we learned is price isn't always necessarily the most important thing for a seller. So price is definitely important, but they want to know for sure that the buyer that they're going with can close. So I think the fact that we formed a relationship with the listing agent, the seller knew who we were, they could tell we were sincere and we were going to close, really helped us beat out the other buyers on this deal and get the property into contract. And then looking back on this, I think the last big lesson that we're really happy that we learned is manage your return on equity very strictly. So because we decided to sell and exchange into a bigger property when our return on equity dropped, it allowed us to grow our money so much more quickly in this other property than it would have grown if we had just left it in this first building. So we're really glad that we did that. And it's hard to do that when you have a building that has appreciated, it's cash flowing well, you're comfortable with it. But I think in the end, it really benefited us to be strict and follow our investment plan. So if you found any value in this video, I hope you'll consider hitting the like button and subscribing. The more likes it gets, the more investors that it reaches. So hopefully this can go and help someone out who's in the real estate market looking to grow. I want to make this a regular series, so I'm planning on putting another deal digest video out very shortly. Hopefully you'll come and check it out. And my name is Cody Charnell. Happy investing.